Hello, Collective. Welcome to this timeless intuitive reading. Whoever I am connecting with today is moving through a liminal space. You are in the in-between. You're not who you used to be, but you're also not yet anchored into who you are becoming. This in-between place can be very uncomfortable and even unsettling because it is ego death, right? But Spirit is coming through to say there's magic to be found in the in-between if we can sit with the discomfort and not rush out of it. This message actually started to channel through me last night, and I was so struck by it that I started to write it down in the form of a newsletter, and that newsletter will be going out within the next week or so. But then I pulled these cards this morning, and it's just so clear that this is a message that really needs to be heard on a collective mass level. So the cards that have come through are number 44, Transmute, number 16, Trust, number 21, Stormy, and at the bottom of the deck is number 45, New Moon, and number 42, Release. So there's magic to be found in the in-between when you sit with it and you don't rush out of it. That is the main message that Spirit is coming through to say. How you engage with the uncertainty of your own identity determines who you become. You decide who you are right now through the way in which you engage with uncertainty. I think it's so interesting that at the bottom of the deck we have New Moon, because tomorrow, October 17th, 2024, is not just a full moon, but a super moon, super full moon. So the energy of the full moon is part of this reading right now. But we have New Moon at the bottom of the deck. There's an opportunity here in this moment for you to release the way that you have always reacted to uncertainty. And in doing so, plant seeds for your own becoming. Just like a snake shedding its skin, you're shedding your identity right now, and there's just an unbelievable amount of trust in the process that Spirit is asking you to have. Trust that when you sit in the unknown and embrace it, you will be transformed. It's in the doing of that transformation happens. It's when you try to rush out of it or grasp at anything to find some sense of secure identity again. It's in that desperation that you actually halt or disrupt the transmutation process. So this is just such a strong message to find the wisdom in any discomfort you're feeling. And I have been feeling for a little while now. There's a lot of agitation in the collective. Lots of agitation. It's like little sparks everywhere. There is a lot of discomfort right now. So notice how you react to that and choose to react differently than you normally would. let's go into tarot and see if we can get a little bit more detail here. I am using a brand new tarot deck. I'm so excited. This is the Horror Tarot by Todd Alcott. I'm obsessed. I'm just obsessed. I've been using this for myself for a couple of weeks now. I've read for one other person with it so far, but it's still kind of new to me, so bear with me as I kind of take my time with it. Okay, Spirit, what else do you want to say about this? What else do you want to say about this in between? It's when you've lost your identity and you embrace the non-being that your true identity arises. This moment is revealing how much we cling to certain identities. I have to be this way. I should be that way. Well, I used to be like that, so maybe I still should be, or I don't want to be like that anymore, and so I'm just going to cling at the opposite. Whatever, there's all these limiting beliefs around identity. And Spirit is saying it's when you stop clinging to any identity at all that your true identity emerges. What else do you want to say about this, Spirit? Who you really are reveals itself when you step back and give it space to. Stop trying to control yourself. Thank you. Okay, what do we got? The Seven of Wands and the Page of Cups. Here's the Seven of Wands. It says, trapped, but who is the monster? It's interesting. I'm actually reading Frankenstein right now for the first time. I'm almost done with it, and that's Frankenstein in the picture. And then the Page of Cups, a symbol of curiosity and intuition. Yeah, that's exactly right. Spirit is saying stop defending any identity whatsoever. Why do you need to cling so hard to any particular sense of self? Why do you feel like you need to control who you are or who you are becoming? You can't. You can't. So if you're in this kind of energy of fear and defensiveness and grasping or desperation, if your response to uncertainty is to go into this, then this is who you will remain and become. But if your response to uncertainty is to just step back and be really curious, to watch, to listen, to witness, to see, then it's almost like you're co-creating with yourself rather than resisting yourself. Spirit is saying, don't you want to see who you're becoming? You can't see who you're becoming when you're forcing something to happen. Becoming a new version of yourself, that's an entirely organic process that has its own ways, I'm hearing, and its own timeline and timing. All right, what else, Spirit? What else? What else? What else? Who Who you're meant to become will surprise you. You couldn't fathom it if you tried. Okay. Ooh. All right. The Seven of Pentacles. Yes, look upon my works is what it says. This is an invitation to just slow down and to reflect. Reflect on who you used to be and maybe find some sense of security in reflecting on your old identities, right? I used to be this way. I used to be that way. I used to react in this way. I used to say these kinds of things. Something about reflecting on who you used to be will be very supportive. It'll create some distance between yourself and your old identity. Even though you're not sure who you're becoming, reflecting on who you know you're not anymore will be grounding in some way. We have the Eight of Swords. It says, featuring isolation, abandonment, and restriction. The Eight of Swords. Okay, so reflecting on the past, look at all the ways you used to limit yourself with your thoughts that you don't anymore. That will be comforting. And then we have the Knight of Cups. I'm hearing peel back the layers. Well, I'm hearing that this is the final test. I don't like the word test, but sometimes Spirit uses it, and so I'll just say it, okay? It's like this is the final test. This moment is the final test. You can look back at your old self and say, damn, I've come a long way. Gosh, look at all the ways I used to hold myself back. I don't do that anymore, thank God. Whew. Look at how much I have freed myself. Look at how far I've come. But then, in this moment now, the way... Ooh, that was funny. I was holding it upside down. The way you meet your own heart in the in-between, allowing it to be rather than controlling it. This is the final test. I hope that makes sense. It's like being in limbo, right? It feels like being in limbo. What else do you want to say about that? Needing to make sense of yourself is a limiting belief. Hearing non-linear time. I don't know. Six of Cups. Interesting. Six of Cups. Yeah. This is more about your past. I don't know why, but this image is making me think of, there's a Twilight Zone episode, I think it was called Kick the Can, or there was an old game that kids used to play called Kick the Can. It was like soccer, but with a rusty, dirty old can. I don't know why it's making me think of that. Well, okay. What was I just saying? Non-linear time? There's something about who you're becoming that holds a kind of innocence you had in childhood. You know, from the perspective of a child, and we had, you know, the Page of Cups as well. When you are a child, you just, you don't try to put yourself into a box. You don't. You just exist, right? With no agenda. You just exist with no agenda. With no pressure, self-induced pressure. You're coming back to that. You're coming back to that embodiment where you don't put so much pressure on yourself to be one thing or the other right now as fast as possible. So there's this kind of innocence and spontaneity and presence that is deeply weaving into the fabric of your being right now. And if you can recognize that that is who you are becoming, then you can start to practice that beingness now in the limbo. Let's get a journal prompt from my journal prompt deck. Oh, goodness. All right, Spirit. Journal prompt for the collective who is in limbo. Journal prompt for the collective, please, Spirit. $17:17 on the timer. Just take a deep breath with me. Drop your shoulders, relax your stomach, release your jaw. Number 13. How would you live your life differently if you knew, hypothetically, that there was no such thing as having a purpose? How would you live your life differently if you knew there was no such thing as having a purpose? You'd just have fun. You'd just be present. You'd just be. You just be present and enjoy your life as much as you could, and follow your joy and love. And isn't it interesting that in doing that, you would probably line squarely up with your purpose? So yeah, there's, I think in the collective I'm tapping into right now, there is potentially a lot of fear and desperation relative to this idea of having a purpose. And there's an old outdated belief that there is something you have to do. There's something you should be doing, like a job. Your purpose is like a job. And every day that passes that you haven't figured out exactly what that is yet, you're wasting your life. Been there, done that. Like, I know how painful that is. Purpose. I just said this to somebody in the comments on a video a few days ago. Purpose is a state of being. right? Living on purpose is just being yourself. And anything that you do as a result of just being yourself with no pressure and no agenda, sure, we can call that purpose. But purpose in the sense we normally talk about it, that can only stem from you just being yourself with no pressure. So this whole like paradigm of desperately trying to find your purpose, it's a just it's a dead end. Exit that limiting belief as quickly as possible. Okay, so you don't have to worry about not fulfilling your purpose. Just give it up. It will find you as soon as you just focus on living. All right, let's get a closing message from Anatomy of a Witch Oracle. Okay, Spirit. Closing message for the collective, please. Closing message for the collective, Spirit. I'm seeing 333. I'm seeing a dragonfly. And a horse. Air. Ooh. So it's a heart with feathers coming out of it. Let's see what the guidebook says. Air. Is it the first one? Okay. The element of air reminds us that the power of that which is invisible to us can still affect us profoundly. Air sustains life. We can feel and see the effects of air all around us, even though it is invisible. Breathing is believing. Respect the unseen forces that are present in your life. Trust, right? Find wonder in the everyday moments of your life simply by focusing on your breath as air moves in and out of your body, connecting you to the world around you. Interesting that I asked you to take a deep breath. This card can also refer to, obviously, air signs. Having a heart of air can represent movement, lightness, transparency, impulsiveness, whimsicality, capriciousness, or being ungrounded. Keywords are ephemeral, effervescent, and lighthearted. See where the wind takes you. If you're a co-creator, then I think Spirit is saying it's time to step back and let life do its job. You are life, and so you can trust yourself. Trust your own becoming. You don't need to control it. It can't be controlled. As soon as you get settled in this state of limbo and in between, as soon as you stop resisting it, you'll find that things pick up really fast and transformation unfolds in miraculous ways you never could have imagined and in the perfect timing. All right. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. I hope this was helpful or at least thought-provoking. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I would love to hear from you. I will be putting this journal prompt in the description box along with several others, so be sure to check those out if you want to take your inner work a little bit deeper. And again, I will be sending out a newsletter all about liminal spaces within the next week or so. If you'd like to be on my newsletter list, you can join on my website. All right, everyone. Until next time. Bye.